Guruji, I wanted to ask you about the connection with Raja Jai Singh. I think Shah Jahan's own account mentions about how this site was, and this place was very precious to Raja Jai Singh. And could you share your views on that as well?
Well, yeah, there's a page, a couple pages actually, from his book, Bhajanam, I think it is, something like that. I'm probably tearing up the name a bit, but in that book, it explains how he acquired the Taj Mahal from Raj Jai Singh. And so it's in the chronicles themselves. And it's interesting because many of the Islamic invaders did have their own chroniclers
Right.
that recorded the events as they happened, mostly to glorify the invaders,
Yeah.
but actually revealing information which shows how they usurped or took over different areas of India, different buildings, different structures like that. And there's many, many different structures that they had. I mean, it's some of it's pretty bloody. Some of it's when they talk about, you know, killing thousands of Hindus, making mountains of skulls until the rivers flowed with blood. I mean, some of these chroniclers are pretty brutal. But and I talk about that, and I just present some of that in my book, Crimes Against India, which is now not only available in English, but it's also just recently available in Hindi, both then as a Kindle ebook and as a paperback book. So for those people that want a cheaper or less expensive edition of Crimes Against India, you can get that from Amazon now in India. And also, I present a lot of information on the Taj Mahal, including what we're talking about right now, in my book, Taj Mahal on an Alternative History of the Shiva Temple. And anybody can get that. Also, it's an ebook, so it's available as a Kindle ebook on Amazon. But it has several different articles from several different perspectives on what the Taj Mahal is, plus a chapter from P.N. Oak himself, and a lot of the pictures which supply the photographic evidence of what we're talking about, the different elements around the Taj Mahal, which shows its Vedic influence and stuff. So all that is easily available for a few dollars on the Kindle version in Amazon. And that'll give you a complete rundown of what it has, the evidence of what it has to offer, as far as showing that it was never an Islamic building. It was never a mausoleum. It was never meant to be a mausoleum, let's put it that way. And anybody can find that of interest if anybody's interested in this topic. So there's a lot of information to share, quite honestly. So the history of the Taj Mahal, especially going back to Man Singh and then Jai Singh, can show explicitly how it was basically a building. And who wouldn't want to own the Taj Mahal, you know?
Yeah.
So when the Muslim invaders came, such as Shah Jahan, his intention was to take it over. And of course, so one of the techniques of claiming it is to make it into a mausoleum, which means it's now sacred. It's Islamic holy ground, so to speak. Nobody can argue with the intention of it. But actually, the history of it goes back far deeper than that. And it shows exactly much more clearly what the origin of the Taj Mahal and the purpose of the Taj Mahal really was.
Absolutely, Stephen G. It is so puzzling, and it is surprising that we know so little about something like this in the popular public discourse in India. Can you, before we conclude this conversation, I also wanted to ask you, what can the government do, really to uh, pursue an honest inquiry into something like this? Because people have the right to know their history, and sort of have and not have roadblocks in front of them in the way that we have seen recently. So what do you think should be done?
Well, I think the government should open it up. It should be opened up to investigation. If people really want to know the history of India and the glories of what Vedic culture is, I mean, there's so many different temples in India which show the glories of what Vedic culture had to offer architecturally. what to speak of so many other areas, whether it's Vastu, whether it's Jyotish, whether it's Ayurveda, and of course yoga. We can't forget that. So understanding the significance of the architectural abilities of the ancient Indians certainly adds to the glory of the Indian history, the Indian culture, Vedic culture. And so the government itself should open it up to investigation and understand that during the 1950s, for example, there was an S.R. Rao who was in charge of the Taj Mahal, and there was a crack in the wall. And in that crack, he had to break open some of the bricks to, get a better access in repairing the wall. But then inside, he saw that there were images of some of the divinities of Hinduism, Vedic culture. And so he went to his authorities in Delhi and said, which included Nehru, by the way, and he said, what should I do? And they just said, patch up the wall and keep your mouth shut. Don't tell anybody about this. So there's all these different aspects which should be opened up for investigation to get a clear understanding of what the Taj Mahal really was, and also to add to the glory of what the Vedic tradition and the Vedic sciences had to offer humanity. I mean, that's how I look at it. I'm not interested in taking over a building because it belongs to somebody else or something, but I'm just saying that this is a means of understanding the true antiquity and the glories of what India has always had to offer humanity since time immemorial.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.